Hi everyone, and welcome back to Creating Great Characters. In this video we're going to work with how do you evolve your characters as you write. And as I said earlier, the key here is to continue to discover your character. Now you can do that either through the front door as you create the profile in advance, or through the back door like we're going to do in this particular video, where you elevate the profile and the character as you continue to write. If you have a problem, go to the side door, pitch the character to a friend, and have them help you fill in the profile. I want to give you an example that came from a script I worked on previously. This is very close to what that character was. Her name was Wendy, and she was the best friend of the lead female. Now, she's a very unassuming character, and if you look at her core traits, you'll see that. Externally, she presented an image of being very nice. Emotionally, she was shy. Intellectually, she had this New Age philosophy. And the only subtext that we could actually find was that she was polite. Now, I'm going to leave out character subtext out of the profile right now because we're going to do that in a future video. But from an optional perspective, the only one that we found was that she had this flaw that she couldn't stand up for herself. So what I did was I went through this script and I started looking for what are the potential areas that we could elevate this character. Where could we improve her? Where could we find something that would make her more interesting or more compelling or more emotional or any of that kind of thing? And here's what we found. First, in one scene, instead of being shy, she came across as an emotional victim. And we thought, oh, you know what? Maybe that's, part of her backstory. Maybe that's part of who she is. From a subtext perspective, we had one scene where she wanted something, but she couldn't say it, so she became very cunning. So we put those two together, and we said, you know what? That actually makes a pretty interesting picture for who this character could be. Now, let me give you a definition of cunning real fast. Cunning means skill in concealing or disguising the real purpose of one's actions, deceptive or sly. So if you put together a character who presents this image of being nice, but she's an emotional victim, and she has this wonderful New Age philosophy, but oh, by the way, she's like one of the trickiest people you've ever met, you've got somebody who could be kind of interesting. And watch and see this, because it's interesting what kind of a difference it made. Just changing two traits, from shy to victim, from polite to cunning, watch what happens. On the left side, she's the supporting character. On the right side, she could very well be the antagonist. On the left side, she's forgettable, but on the right side, she could be the most interesting character in the screenplay. On the left side, very little subtext. On the other side, constant subtext, because she's continually doing things that are hurting people and trying to, make things happen. On the left side, she had very little impact on the story. In fact, hardly any. On the right-hand side, she could potentially cause everything. And on the left side, at best, we're going to get a low to a mid-level actress to play that part. On the right-hand side, it may actually be an A-list actress who wants to really show us, her dark side. So by the time we were done, this character actually became the antagonist. Even though she operated as a best friend, the truth is that she was no friend to anyone. The other part, on the other side, here's what we discovered. First, her flaw looked like she couldn't stand up for herself, but the reality was that she couldn't openly stand up for herself. And this is kind of important. When you go to create this side, a lot of times you want to look back at those core traits. And even though she was cunning and a victim and very angry and upset and all that kind of thing, she wanted to present an external image of being nice. Plus, it wasn't consistent with her New Age philosophy for her to be abusing people in the open. So again, she couldn't openly stand up for herself, and that's why she did things very covertly. Her mission and agenda, and this was very interesting. It took us a little bit to discover this, but once we did, it changed everything. So her mission and agenda was to incapacitate or destroy anyone who had power over her. Now, I really believe in this particular case, this was an unconscious thing she had going on. It wasn't, something where she was just this horrible, mean person. She just had, she had a problem. She was a scarred individual, and it was very difficult for her. But the other part of it, remember, since she's nice and has a New Age philosophy, essentially those two are in absolute opposition to the cunning and the victim side. So the other part of it was that she would incapacitate and destroy the other characters, but she had to look innocent doing it. So all of this side was consistent with what's going on this side. It's just simply it gives us a deeper view of it or another way to look at it. So what this ultimately did was we took a character that wasn't very interesting, and by discovering these things and allowing her to evolve, we found somebody who became one of the most interesting characters in the movie. So as you work with your characters, continue to discover as you write. Allow them to evolve right in front of you and notice the things that they do. If you write a scene and that character goes to a particular extreme, maybe there's something that that you need to pay attention to. And then, of course, as you notice changes or make changes, make sure that you update your profiles so that you're absolutely clear on who those characters are. Now let me give you a quick assignment for growth. Real simply, if you are willing to do this, if you're willing to select a friend who's a little bit extreme that you feel like you really know and write a character profile on them, I promise you, you're going to discover new things about how characters work. Now, please don't tell them that you're doing this because it might freak them out. But if you do it with one or two friends, when you go to the second part and you create profiles for your lead characters, you will already be very good at creating these profiles. So, in the future, we're going to work with things like, again, like character subtext, worldview, intriguing dialogue, unique dialogue for each character, and luring top actors with fresh characters. On the other side, we're also going to work with making sure you understand subtext, how to write a perfect scene, how to create memorable moments, how to write irresistible query letters, and many others. So I hope you've really gotten a lot out of this and you have a chance to apply it immediately to your screenplays. I promise you, it will make a big difference.